It's about that time of year in college football offseason where we start to get into rankings. And in here at Random SEC, where we're going to do specific rankings on each individual position, offense and defense, for this upcoming 2026-2027 football season. So I thought I would start with the quarterback, the man behind center, probably the most important position in football. I think it's just a good place to start because it's the easiest place to rank, in my opinion. It's just a good place to kind of just get a feel for each team as well. So I just want you to keep in mind as I do these rankings that it is all very much up to change. I do not hold the truth. These guys, a lot of them haven't even played snaps yet, so it's a very interesting list of guys here for the 2026 season. But I'm just going to go overall and say that this year in college football for the SEC, it's going to be one of the best quarterback conferences ever. Like up and down the list, all these guys have potential to be really great quarterbacks, so it's really hard to rank them. But I just wanted to start with quarterbacks as I kind of go through each and every position here in this offseason, because quarterback are so vital to just the piece of every team, right? So before I get started, I just want to ask you to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'm taking a little hiatus here, but I'm back in full time. Thank you so much for watching, though. And if you want more off-season content, the best off-season content, all these rankings and sort of that, the best thing you can do is subscribe. Follow us on all social medias, too. We're doing great there. Still need your help here on YouTube. But let's go ahead and get into it. So number 16, Jared Curtis out of Vanderbilt. Now, a quick little tidbit here. Curtis is the future of Vanderbilt football. He is last on my list because he has 0 college snaps, okay? But in terms of long-term ceiling, he might be one of the most important quarterbacks on this entire list. And he might just jump up significantly throughout the season. But it's really hard for me not to put the freshman, true freshman. He was in high school last year. And although he has a lot of talent, flipped from Georgia, it's hard to put him anything but 16. If he's seriously going to be the number one guy for Vanderbilt, great. But I'm going to need to see a little bit in college reps, in SEC reps especially. So it's hard for me to put him anywhere other than 16. But honestly, he's one of the guys I'm looking forward to watching this year the most. I think Vanderbilt can really surprise some people. A lot of them are pinning this as a down year for Vanderbilt. Lost a lot of production last year. But I think, Clark Lee and the boys can really do something here. Talent, like I said, is not lacking. Most places list him as either the number 1 or number 2 player in all of high school rankings for 2026. He's the number 2 overall quarterback and number 1 player in Tennessee. Just listen to these stats real quick. 40 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 18 rushing touchdowns, threw for over 2,800 yards. That's pretty dang good. He's got all the talent in the world. He has a good build, and I really do think he can fit into the mold well. But like I said, he's a freshman, true freshman. It's going to be hard for me to put him anywhere other than 16. At number 15, Aaron Philo for Florida. Now, I put an asterisk here because, there is some controversy. I don't know if controversy is the right word, but he could still potentially not be the starter. I think he is going to be the starter. Maybe that's been announced. Maybe not. I don't know. But, there's still some maybe nots with him and a couple other guys on this list. But I do think Aaron Philo, once again, I think he can be good. I just haven't seen too much out of him, to be quite honest. He's sneaky, though. Georgia Tech, he was backing up Haynes King. And while I do think Haynes King is a great quarterback, I think that can really help Aaron Philo a lot in learning. He went 21 of 28 for 373 yards in 2025 for Georgia Tech. 1 touchdown, 1 interception with a 75% completion rate. Like I said, guys, you can't really get too much off of the information. He didn't play too much, but I do think a lot of people, when he originally committed to Florida, were going to be like, that's a number 2 guy. But that didn't end up happening. Not to say that he can't be the number 1 guy, and I do think he will be a good quarterback, and I do firmly believe he will move up on this list for me. I haven't seen too much film on him, and I think that's probably plays into it. I just, a guy who hasn't had any starting SEC reps or really any SEC reps at all, that's where I just get a little bit queasy, and I have to put him here at 15. He's not a big name SEC quarterback yet, but the fit is real for sure. I do think he fits the Summerall offense. If he wins the Florida job, which, like I said, it's up in the air, but I do think he will, he gives the Gators a young passer with a system familiarity and efficient flashes. Number 14, we got KJ Jackson from Arkansas. Now, once again, asterisk here because there is a chance that it's A.J. Hill, the other Arkansas quarterback who came from Memphis, and he has a lot of talent. KJ Jackson has a lot of talent. I'm very, Arkansas is a wild card for me. Ryan Silverfield, year 1. There's a lot of year 1 head coaches. but I don't really know what to make for Arkansas this year. It's going to be a really, really tough schedule. Last year, you had a really great offense, and we really saw KJ Jackson thrive in that a lot. Taylor Green got hurt sometimes, and sometimes you just kind of played two quarterbacks. KJ Jackson was really good. I think a lot of Arkansas fans were really excited that he decided to return and come back to play for Ryan Silverfield, new head coach. His stats speak for himself, man. He's 441 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Once again, hasn't played too much, just like Aaron Philo, but he has played some significant SEC minutes, and he's been pretty good. I mean, he can run it. I think the question is passing. I'm pretty sure he's a lefty, but he's pretty dang good. I think he's one of the more, up and coming, sneaky guys that a lot of people will be shocked about how good he is. But Arkansas, there's just a lot of questions in general as a team. I don't know what I'm looking at. I mean, we're gonna find out real soon because week 2, you got to go to Utah, then Georgia, and then it's probably the hardest schedule in the country, to be honest. So we're going to find out real quick about KJ Jackson, about Arkansas in general, but it's just so much of a wild card for me that I had to put him this low. And I really do think AJ Hill is really talented as well. I believe he was maybe a 5-star out of high school. I don't know. Played significant minutes last year for Memphis too, and I think he even played against Arkansas last year, and Memphis played pretty well. Good player. Both fit the system that Ryan Silverfield has kind of thrived off of recently. And I can't remember the OC's name now, but he's very highly touted. So I do think Arkansas's offense will be pretty good, pretty solid, just like it was last year. Maybe not quite that good, but we shall see. And then number 13, George McIntyre from Tennessee. And once again, an asterisk. You're going to see a lot of these guys towards the bottom of the list. I'm just really kind of wild cards because, for one, we don't know if they're even going to win the starting job. And number 2, they just haven't played a lot, right? So there's a lot of stuff up in the air. But George McIntyre, originally people were like, okay, he's the guy, but there has been some talk that maybe some other guys get this nod, and I really do think that he's good. I watched a little bit of that spring game tape. He was pretty dang good. He once again, tiny sample of him, 7 of 9 passing for 69 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Like, he doesn't have too much to go off of, but he is talented. I can tell you that. All these guys here at the bottom are talented. A lot of them can make an impact. It's just kind of tough to tell which one until the season gets going. So, like I said, guys, I do think this list has a lot of changing that could even happen in this offseason as I see stuff and whatever. But this is just kind of a rough draft. Write it in pencil and we'll write it in Sharpie later. Number 12, Austin Simmons for Missouri. No asterisks here. He transferred to Missouri from Ole Miss, and he already won the starting job couple weeks ago, probably a couple months ago. And I do, Eli Drinkwitz's offenses are usually pretty good. I think he's a really talented quarterback. Last year is just an unfortunate circumstance where you get hurt. Trinidad Chambliss comes again against Arkansas. It balls out, and he does the same again and again. And then, Austin Simmons is healthy again, and Lane Kiffin's like, well, we can't really take Trinidad Chambliss out. It becomes a 2-quarterback system that slowly molds into a 1-quarterback system where it's just Trinidad Chambliss because no one really thought he was going to be that good. So it's just an unfortunate situation for Austin Simmons. I do think there was a little bit of a disappointment, kind of in the early of the season. It's hard to tell how good he was going to be. But I do think this is kind of a chance for a fresh start. I do think Missouri also has a lot of good weapons. Last year, he was 744 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, a 60% completion grade, 71 rushing yards, and 1 touchdown. He can run it. He can throw it. He's pretty talented. A big question for this is the running back situation, right? Ahmad Hardy unfortunately suffered a injury due to being shot, and we hope he can get back to Missouri ASAP. I do think that's a really big part of it. It's all about the weapons you have around you. Ahmad Hardy is probably the best running back in the country. So if you can have that kind of 1-2 punch, that really opens up the game as far as passing for Austin Simmons, as far as just dual threat. He can do some read options there. And it's really just big for the Eli Drinkwitz offense, which if that is going good, Austin Simmons will be going good, which Ahmad Hardy plays into that as well. So I could definitely see Austin Simmons being higher. I know a lot of people have him higher, but I'm just, once again, a little bit skeptical. He didn't have that many minutes at Ole Miss last year. And I know he has some promise. Like, I definitely see him being a top 5 quarterback in the SEC if all things come to fruition. But just a little bit, I'm just going to be a little bit cautious here for Austin Simmons and Missouri as a whole. Number 11, Keelon Russell for Alabama. Once again, another asterisk because Austin Mack can also win that starting job. But Keelon Russell, we've seen him in a decent amount of minutes for Alabama, and the guy's freaking talented. Like, this guy, I don't think we've seen a Alabama quarterback with this much talent, frankly, in a long time. We'll see how good he can turn out to be. He only attempted 15 passes last year, but he went 11 of 15 for 143 yards in those passes, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Pretty good player, in all honesty. Once again, limited minutes, you got to kind of put him lower. But this is a guy that I could very easily see, like, by week 3 jumping in to maybe top 5 of my SEC quarterback rankings. Is that fair to say? Like, he's pretty dang good. Him and Austin Mack. Number 10, LaNorris Sellers, South Carolina. Look, once again, I kind of put him cautiously low. He dealt with injury last year. South Carolina dealt with Mike Shula last year. A lot of variables that went against LaNorris Sellers. I still think, as far as talent goes, he's top 3 in the SEC. And I do think that he can be a Heisman candidate, take South Carolina to good places this year. It's just a lot is up in the air. How good are they going to be? How good is he going to be under Kendall Briles? I don't know. I think that Kendall Briles' offensive system really fits LaNorris Sellers well. I mean, we saw it with KJ Jefferson. We saw it at TCU a little bit. He's really good with a running dual threat quarterback. But LaNorris Sellers, I find it difficult to put him a little bit higher just because of his history, just because of last year. It was a little shaky, and I get it. Not a lot of that was on him, but I still kind of got to put him lower compared to some of these other guys. Like I said, it's a quarterback conference, and a lot of these guys have proven a lot. So not to say that LaNorris Sellers or any of these guys can't jump, and I think they will. But, man, LaNorris Sellers can be good. We'll see. Obviously, 2 years ago, he was high on a lot of people's lists. I don't think he's like DJ Lagway where, maybe we were just overhyping him. Maybe he just wasn't all that. I think he is all that. I just think we need to tap into his potential more, and that's we got to see a lot about that. Number 9, Camario Taylor for Mississippi State, and people will say, "What? How was he number 9?" Well, I'll tell you what. I watched him in that Mayo Bowl, and I watched him throughout the season. The kid is gifted. Like, genuinely gifted. And if anybody can help Jeff Lebby get out of the place that he's in at Mississippi State, it's going to be Camario Taylor. It's going to be some other guys that have stayed. But Camario Taylor, when he withstood that injury in that Duke's Mayo Bowl last year, I was just like holding my breath because that's the future of Mississippi State right there. Thankfully, he was all right. Thankfully, I think he's going to be all right this year. I think he's going to be a very, very good quarterback that's going to shock a lot of people. Last year, he threw for 629 yards, 5 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Once again, he doesn't have all the experience that some of these other guys that I'm about to read off do, but he is a very talented quarterback, and I just want you to go look at some film for Camario Taylor. I just really, really think he can surprise a lot of people. Number 8, Byron Brown for Auburn. One quick thing before I get into a little bit more about him. I do think he can be one of the best quarterbacks in the country this year. I think him in the Alex Golesh system is really just a advantage that he fits into that so well, and he got a lot of weapons. Yes, he was playing at USF last year. I think USF was really good, but it's not SEC level, so that's going to be a learning curve. But I do really think Byron Brown is one of the more talented quarterbacks in the SEC. I do think he's one of the more talented quarterbacks in the country. Number 8, he's kind of been all over the place in all the SEC power rankings, quarterback rankings that I've seen. But number 8, I think, is a good spot because I really think he can move up. I think he can move down. He's a wild card for me. But just looking at straight tape, yes, it was against probably a little bit worse of talent. He's dang good, man. Last year, Brown was one of the most productive players on this entire list, guys. In 2025 at USF, he threw for 3,158 yards, 28 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, completed 66.3%, posted a 77.8 quarterback rating. My question is, can it translate to the SEC? That's everybody's question. I think it can, guys, and I don't want to say it because it's kind of that voodoo jinx for Auburn. He kind of has this Cam Newton archetype, and he's thick. He can run it. He can throw it pretty long. He has everything he needs as far as offense goes, I think, too. I know this transfer portal season was a little bit wacky for Auburn, but I do really think Alex Golesh can make a dent year 1. We shall see. Byron Brown is going to be the main factor for that. Number 7, Sam Leavitt, LSU. And people are going to be coming at me. Why is he not higher? He's so proven. He was like the number 2 transfer, whatever. I know. Number 1, he's injured. Number 2, he was injured a lot of last year. We didn't get to see him a lot last year. And number 3, when he played 2 years ago, he was great. I loved him. But how much of that was on Cam Scataboo? How much of that was on Honeycutt, right? So I don't want to say that he's not talented. I think he is. I think he could be potentially the number one quarterback in all the SEC when it's all said and done. I think he could be a Heisman contender. I think Charlie Wise is the best guy to get him there. I think he's the best offensive coordinator in the SEC. The guy's gifted. The guy can do anything with quarterbacks. But the question is, can he do it in the SEC? Because if you remember last year, he was fully healthy against Mississippi State and kind of just got diced up by that defense, man. I don't know. I think he threw a couple interceptions in that game. It was early in the year. I get it. Didn't have as many talent as you're going to have at LSU. I get it. But I'm just a little bit skeptical. Like I said, the talent's out the wazoo. I think this guy could have been a draft pick this year. I truly do. But there's just something that I can't get over, that I can't put him a little bit higher. The injury is really just the biggest thing, though. Like, I just can't put a guy coming off injury super high. And I'm going to kind of contradict my words there when I talk about John Mateer, but it's a little bit different situation there. Last year at Arizona State, he threw for 1,628 yards, 10 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, in only 7 games, though. So, my thing is, yes, Lane Kiffin, people call him a quarterback guru. I really think it's more Charlie Wise, who is really just a really talented offensive coordinator. Going to be interesting to see with Trinidad Chambliss where that takes him, how much of a factor that was for him. But as far as Sam Leavitt goes, I think he can move up as much as anybody here, and people are about to come down on me for this next one. Kenny Minchey, Kentucky, number 6. Why is he over Sam Leavitt? Why is he over Keelon Russell? Why is he over Camarita? I'll tell you what. I am pretty heavily involved in Notre Dame athletics. I watch it. I'm pretty invested, kind of like a second team for me. And CJ Carr was, honestly, in my opinion, a top 3 quarterback last year. He was a freshman, okay? Him and Kenny Minchey were battling it out for, that 1 year with the red shirt freshman behind Riley Leonard. And they were neck and neck to the very end. Like, so much so that decision to put CJ Carr in was insane. And people are like, CJ Carr's... No. That Miami team who went to the national title, CJ Carr wasn't the reason that Notre Dame lost that Miami game. That offense was insane for a freshman to go on the road to Miami in his first ever game starting and put a performance like that. Like, go watch that tape, man. That's all I need to know about CJ Carr. And so much of that tells me about Kenny Minchey. Because in any other place last year, I think he would have been a starting quarterback. Only like a handful of 5 or 6 schools, I think he wouldn't have been. So the fact that he landed at Kentucky, I was looking at Kenny Minchey like, why isn't he more of a highly touted after guy? When I saw him go to Kentucky with Will Stein, the quarterback guy, I was like, this is a recipe for success. And this is part of the reason why I'm kind of high on Kentucky. It's hard to say. He hasn't been a head coach before. And when I come out with my head coaching rankings, people are going to be like, what? Why are you so high on Kenny Minchey? And then why is Will Stein so low? Because same thing with Jared Curtis. Will Stein just hasn't coached yet. It's hard to tell when you haven't been a head coach yet. But Kenny Minchey, man, I think he is great. And I think if this Will Stein offense can be how he wants it to be, Kenny Minchey is going to thrive. And he's going to shock a lot of people. Similar to Mario Taylor, but on a whole other level. Kenny Minchey, to me, is one of the best quarterbacks in all of the country. So I'm really putting my all my eggs in this basket, kind of, and it's going to either come down on me hard or I'm going to look like a genius. Kind of a little aura gamble here, but I really do trust that Kenny Minchey is a really talented player. Number 5, Marcel Reed, Texas A&M, and also, surprisingly, kind of a controversial pick. I get it last year. I think part of the reason he wasn't as productive was maybe the offensive coordinating, and I do think Klein was good, but I just a little bit didn't fit him. I don't know about Marcel Reed, like how talented he really is. He can run it, but I don't know if he's all that great, and that's kind of where the question is for everybody. But I see some promise in him. Like, a lot of people want to pin a lot of stuff on him last year. The defense was too good for them not to go farther. But I think Marcel Reed can be really, really good. Almost Heisman level contention maybe this year. 25 touchdowns last year, 12 interceptions, 62.1% completion, 75.6 QBR, and 493 rushing yards and 6 rushing TDs. I think he's got some good weapons around him this year. Like, his ceiling is top 3 in the SEC. The reason he sits at 5 is volatility. If the new offensive setup cleans up the turnovers, he can absolutely jump those lists. Turnovers are so huge, man. I mean, 12 interceptions, I don't know how many fumbles. Turnovers are huge, but we've seen the splashes. He can be really, really, really talented. Number 4, John Mateer, Oklahoma. Look, I just said the thing with Sam Leavitt. Injury makes me a little weary. But the thing with me is, I think the injury is going to be behind him by, whenever this season starts. I think injury was a thing bugging him late in the season, and the offense for Oklahoma was really just lacking there, and I think the big part of that was injury. But if you remember, before that Red River rivalry, that John Mateer, and yes, I know the talent wasn't great. That John Mateer was really, really, really solid. And I don't know. I'm kind of putting my eggs in a basket again, saying I believe that can come back. I really, really do. Turnovers have to be cleaned up. I know the offense is the big question for Oklahoma this year, if they can actually be a contender, because the defense is there. It was there last year. And I just do really think a lot of it was that injury for John Mateer, and it was his arm. I mean, that's the worst place for a quarterback. So I'm putting that a lot into why he kind of declined during the end of the season. But, I mean, I don't know. I think he can show a lot of growth this summer, which will lead to a lot of growth coming up this year. Number 3, Gunner Stockton from Georgia. Stockton deserves top 3 respect because he gave Georgia exactly what Kirby Smart wants: efficiency, toughness, and mistake control. His 2025 line was 2,894 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, a 69.7% completion rate, 84.9 QBR, plus 462 rushing yards and 10 rushing touchdowns. He may not be the flashiest quarterback in the SEC in the country, right? But he gets the job done. Like, I considered him putting him at 2. He gets the job done. I really like Gunner Stockton. And I always think back to that Texas game, the SEC championship. I think back to when he took over for Carson Beck. The guy's nails, right? The guy has no fear. Last year, I feel like, you kind of ran into something that you didn't think you would. Ole Miss was on a heater, and they took advantage. I really like Gunner Stockton. I mean, this has been Kirby Smart's best offense when he's been at Georgia is under Gunner Stockton. It's so much so that you're kind of questioning the defense. What's going on? But this is a really good offense for Georgia. I think Gunner Stockton is really good. He's the classic Georgia quarterback, tough, efficient, trusted, and surrounded by winning infrastructure. He may not lead the SEC in highlights, but he is one of the guys most likely to win 10-plus games, and that says a lot. No matter what you think of Georgia, I do really think Gunner Stockton can do a lot of damage this year. Number 2, Arch Manning, and this is the whole debate, right? 1 and 2, Arch Manning, Trinidad Chambliss, and I'll get to that later. But Arch Manning, in my opinion, is probably the Heisman favorite, and I'll say that while still putting Trinidad Chambliss number 1. And the reason for that is because Trinidad Chambliss, that playoff run last year, it just puts so much in me where I can't realistically put him anywhere but 1. I mean, gosh, he took Ole Miss to almost a national title. That says so much for me. The question is, Charlie Weis, how big will that be? I think Arch Manning has a chance to be the number 1 quarterback in the country. Like, talent is out the roof. He showed so much growth last year. He started off and people were like, this guy sucks. The hype was not real, but he showed so much growth last year. And that's why I'm just a little bit hesitant to put him at number 1. What if that slump was maybe not a slump? Maybe he starts off bad again. I don't think so. I think he keeps continuing to grow off of last season into that bowl game. All down the stretch, he was just fantastic. I think he continues to grow, but there is the small part of me that I'm like, no, maybe he doesn't. Trinidad Chambliss, on the other hand, everything he's shown in the SEC so far has been absolutely fantastic. And the only question for him is Charlie Weis Jr. being gone. I think he was a huge part in Trinidad's success, but I think Trinidad Chambliss is one of those quarterbacks who can really do it with or without. And I do really think he's a quarterback who can be maybe a top 5 draft pick, which would be insane coming from D2. The whole eligibility issue, I know, is controversial, but I really do think he is the most talented quarterback in the SEC. Arch, go through his stats. I mean, 3,163 yards, 26 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, completed 61.4%, posted a 78.0 quarterback rating, and added 399 rushing yards with 10 rushing TDs as well. Stats speak for himself, but at the same time, guys, Trinidad Chambliss has given you just more complete greatness, and the playoffs is really what's probably biasing me. So thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing. It would really help me out a lot. I'm trying to grow this as much as I can. Please give me any content ideas. Drop them down in the comments below. I will do them, man. I am up to your bidding. I really am up for ideas, to be honest. I'm just going to do these rankings, see what it goes. But tell me what you would change. Tell me what you would do. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please follow us on all social medias where we're doing great all there. At the Random SEC, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. Thank you so much for watching, and see ya.